Sis, where are you seeing two black eyes? Wonder why he may have been angry. She was stealing money from him. Adam Waldman is the MVP. This is why there is cameras in this courtroom.
Big fan of justice.
Yeah, me too.
Hey guys, so today is the quickfire roundup for week 5 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. There was a lot, literally a lot of witnesses this week. A lot of them were depositions. Just like, why is there only one live witness? Oh, sorry, 2 live witnesses across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 people, and there was only 2 live witnesses. Just think about that for a second. Why would that be? Before I get into the video, please note that obviously there's a lot of there's 19 witnesses to get through. I'm going to get through this as quickly as possible, therefore I'm only going to be highlighting a couple of key points from each person. If you want to see everything that they said, because if you are following the trial, I think it's relevant to make sure you watch everything. I will link all of the days that I'm mentioning below for you to watch at your leisure. But please note that obviously I'm going to be missing a lot of information. I'm just trying to hit the key points. Let's get into this. So, first of all, we had Rocky Pennington, Amber's best friend at the time. She is no longer friends with Amber. Just think about that. Rocky Pennington has seen quite a lot of verbal fights between Johnny Depp and Amber, but
I was scared for Amber. I was sad for her, and I was also sad for Johnny.
Mr. Depp become, quote, angry and aggressive, end quote, toward a friend of yours?
Yes.
Relative to where Mr. Depp was, where were you when this occurred?
We were around a campfire.
Key point for Rocky for me, first of all, she used the same, this is very similar for Io Tell It Right, to be fair as well. Her and Io used exactly the same verbiage that Amber used in her testimony, that when they were together and it was all going well, it was magical. I've never described my friends' relationships as magical. It's very, very, very questionable to me. The thing that, for me, that just crumbled anything Rocky was going to say, she did get extremely upset when she was showing the photos with Amber's team, but not when she was shown with Depp's team, so that was just odd. But the thing that made me question her was the fact that she saw a photo of Amber, I'll show it, and she described this as Amber having 2 black eyes.
Of Amber's face. With 2 black eyes. And a swollen bottom lip.
Sis, where are you seeing 2 black eyes? If you are someone's best friend and they are saying they're abused, of course you are going to want to be there for them, of course. The only thing I can think, genuinely, the only thing I can think is that Rocky was so gaslit and manipulated by Amber that she genuinely believes that these are 2 black eyes. That's the only thing I can think. The most damage Amber ever fucking had, he accidentally knocked heads with her when he was trying to like bear hug her, in Johnny's words, to try and stop her from like flailing her arms at him and trying to hit him. And even then she didn't have 2 black eyes. So unfortunately that just made her unbelievable as a witness to me. That's true. He was there, he was actually pretty matter of fact in most of his statements. He answered very quick and it was very easy to follow. Whereas some of the others, like, they really think about their answers before they say it. And some of Johnny's witnesses were like that too, so don't get me wrong. Witness testimony like Josh Drew's was just easier to sort of listen to. He relayed the police incident.
What else do you remember about the events of the evening of May 21?
I mean, I can tell you contemporaneously from the start if there's something specific you'd like me to expound on.
Who is Officer Melissa Science?
My understanding, it was the name of the Latina officer that first responded with her partner. When they arrived, I greeted them at the door. I walked them through PH3 to show them the damage, show them the broken glass. They had already walked through the hallway over the gigantic wine stain throughout the entire hallway. I took them through PH3, like I said, to show them the damage. I took them back out of the hallway, showed them the dent in the door shaped like the bottom of a wine bottle in PH1, took them into PH5 to see broken picture frames, smashed glass, Raquel's jewelry and things like that strewn about the apartment. And then I brought them back to PH3.
And basically everything he said was, everything seemed pretty believable. Then yeah, you had IO tell it right. He, like I said, used the same verbiage that Amber did, my red flag. But the thing that really made it even more questionable was that he tried to say that, oh, him and Johnny were good friends, and Johnny admitted to him that I guess he was frustrated by fame sometimes and he didn't like his fans. He insulted his fans.
He became very demeaning. Johnny is incredibly intelligent, incredibly smart and witty, and he would point his jokes at people, Amber's appearance, her talent, her lack of talent as he perceived it, why he thought that she was actually famous, which he always implied was just because of her looks, and because he thought that everyone wanted to have sex with her, and he would insult his fans. He called them, I remember he called them remoras, which is a type of sucker fish that attaches itself to the hull of a ship and puts a hole in it and then sinks it. He would rail against his mother and his sisters, pretty much, you know, anyone that he felt had crossed him or could cross him. He became very nasty.
Johnny has never come off like that, ever. I've literally seen videos of a fan giving him a teddy bear and Sean Bett trying to take it away from him and him playfully slapping his hand away, being like, that's mine. Like, don't you dare take my teddy bear away from me.
For Mark nothing. Mark.
Thank you, Johnny. Just for you. It's for you. Yeah. Johnny, thank you for everything. Love you.
Thank you, Johnny.
So many instances of Johnny being amazing to his fans.
Hello.
My name's Aiden. This is Logan. This is Brody, and this is Madison.
Madison.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess.
Okay.
I'm going to steal another hug.
Okay.
How do you do? I have no sword. I come in peace. Really? This could take hours.
I want kiss.
Ola?
You can go up.
Ola? Ola, we've come to take you to the room of spiders. I don't like spiders. May I have a hug?
Yes! Literally, someone has come out and said that Johnny Depp came to someone's restaurant. He asked, rather than tip the waiter, he asked him how much his rent was for the month, and he paid him that as his tip.
I've been in LA for 14 years. I was unemployed as an actor for 9 of them. For most of those 9 years, I worked in hospitality. Everybody who works in hospitality talks to each other. Everybody knows who does tip and who doesn't. One of my mates served Johnny Depp one night, and when it came time to tip, Johnny Depp said to him, "What's your rent for the month?" And that's what he wrote as the tip.
I can't believe for a second that that's true, because he's an extremely generous man. I mean, for fuck's sake, just look at Rocky Pennington, Whitney Hurd, I Tell It Right, Josh Strew. All these people lived rent-free in his penthouses that he was paying for. No evidence to show he's not a generous, kind person. So again, anything that Io said to me when he used the same verbiage and he made that claim just made him unbelievable. Then we had Whitney Hurd. So Whitney was strange in a way, because you would think she would be more comfortable with Amber's lawyers than she was with Depp's lawyers. But it was the other way around. She seemed very angry and she was trying to almost throw her testimony out there. So she was on 2 times speed. It was so fast and so quick, and it was like she was trying to get it out before she forgot it. That's what it seemed like. And she seemed angry about it. There has been claims that Amber is abusive to her sister and possibly that she's terrified of her. So possibly that's why, I don't know. But it was just even stranger to me that Depp's lawyer, when Whitney was being questioned, she seemed more comfortable with. Like, very odd. Whitney claimed very similar things to Amber around the stairs incident.
Johnny then hurls a Red Bull can and it hits Debbie in the back. She didn't even react. She didn't really seem to notice. But I'm standing up there talking, or I'm standing up there, I'm at the top of the stairs with my back to the stairs. And that's when Johnny runs up the stairs. And again, I'm facing Amber. He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back, kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my fucking sister." She smacks him, lands one. And then he grabs, at that point, that's when Travis runs up the stairs after Amber landed one. But by that time, Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other as I was standing there. Travis pulls them apart. I get Amber into mine. I close the doors behind me and lock them.
Elizabeth Mars, this is the person that was living there for 2 weeks. I would say she was just basically crashing there probably for 2 weeks. And she was terrified of Johnny because he shouted at her to get out of his penthouses.
And Johnny came like bursting through the door.
Who opened the door?
Johnny.
Okay. Was Johnny alone?
There was the two men behind him, following him.
So Johnny opens the door. He's got his two, what we'll assume are his bodyguards, with him. What happens next?
So it all happened very fast. The door kind of burst open, and he came in very, just from my perspective, really under the influence of something, drugs or alcohol, because he was very sloppily, he looked wasted. He was holding a very large bottle of wine, looked like some sort of a Magnum bottle of wine, which was kind of spilling all over the place. And as he opened the door, he just, what I remember what he mumbled was, "Get your bitch out of here." And I just remember it all happened very fast, like the door slamming, him saying, "Get your bitch out of here," the wine, that whole, his whole being really frightened me. It almost felt like he was coming towards me from my perspective. Whether he was coming towards me or not, it scared me. And I just ran out past him.
When there's 5 fucking freeloaders that are staying in your penthouses, and then you find out there's even more people that you didn't know that were there, and you've just come back from, I don't know, a bad day at work or something. Yeah, I wonder why he may have been angry. Can't put 2 and 2 together. Can she just shut the fuck up? Why is she even relevant if she was only there for 2 fucking weeks? Surely the people who are living there, Io, Whitney, Josh, Rocky, if they were all so scared of Amber with Johnny, why the fuck were they living by her side and helping her to remove herself from that situation? Why the fuck was she still there? Then we have Melanie Iglesias. She was the makeup artist. She was also a friend to Amber Heard. She's not friends with her anymore. Again, take that with what you will. She said that Amber had the headbutt. She wasn't there for the headbutt, but she claims it was a headbutt. I mean, how can you physically fucking claim something's a headbutt if you weren't there? Otherwise, it's just hearsay. Surely she used a peach colour corrector over the bump.
Yes, we covered, I just did makeup, but just a little heavier where it needed. So we covered, the discoloration, the bruises with a little slightly heavier concealer. One that has a little more of a peach undertone, which I would normally don't use on Amber, but peach do cancel blue. So I did that under the eyes. And although Amber always, has a red lip, is one of the signature look, I remember clearly talking that we had no other option that night but then to use a red blood, like a really red lipstick to, make sure we could cover up the injuries on the lip.
Then we have Christy Sexton, who was Amber's acting coach. Amber apparently went to her like weekly or something. Christy admitted that after all that time, Amber still couldn't cry on demand.
I would say the last year they were together, probably 80-90% of our sessions began with her crying. That would be increasing as it went on. Ironically, she has a little difficulty crying, acting-wise. So,
It kind of goes back to the first day when she was testifying, when she was really, really, really trying to cry, and she couldn't. Just something to think about. Then we had Bruce Whitkin, who was next friend of Johnny's. So Bruce Whitkin had been friends with Johnny for years, and strangely they are no longer friends. And it turned out the reason they're no longer friends is that Bruce supported Amber with her claims.
Exhibit any jealousy when he's been in a relationship?
Yes.
And do you remember when?
I go all the way back to my sister-in-law. I mean, you can definitely have a jealous streak in him.
Can you tell me more specifics about that bruise? What did it look like?
Like I said, it just looked like she was grabbed. That's all. That's what it seemed to be. Finger marks.
And did you ever talk to Amber about that bruise?
No.
And when did you see Mr. Depp with a fat lip?
Late. I'm thinking it's sometime in either 2015 or 16.
Now I can imagine if you are being abused by someone and your friend that you've been really, really, really close to for over 20 years turns around and supports your abuser who is claiming that you abused them, I can imagine maybe I might not want that person in my life anymore. Just a thought. Then we had Tracy Jacobs, the ex-agent of Johnny's. So Tracy said that she made all this money for Johnny and that he dropped her and XYZ.
Mr. Depp, a difficult client to represent?
He wasn't initially, and it became far more complicated in the last 10 years of my representing him.
And how did it become far more complicated in the last 10 years?
His unprofessional behavior.
I had to take her testimony with a grain of salt, considering the reason she was dropped from being his agent was the fact that she was stealing money from him. The reason Johnny was so fucking in debt is because of her and the next witness, Joe Mansell, his ex-business manager. Again, he stole money from Johnny.
And so my warnings in 2015 that we were in very dire financial circumstances were not met very favorably.
So did there come a time that you observed as Mr. Depp's business manager that his spending habits became more increased, perhaps excessive, extravagant?
Yes.
And when did you observe that? When did that begin?
In the time frame I've described, in that 2010 and on time frame, as I recall, income was very significant, spending was very significant, and the spending levels had grown very, very, very large, and required that level of incredibly high income to be maintained. And when it dropped off, the disconnect became untenable.
Why would I not take his testimony with a grain of salt? Then we had Adam Waldman. Adam Waldman is the MVP of this whole fucking week. He was incredible. He couldn't answer almost any of the fucking questions because he's a lawyer and it's client privilege, and Johnny did not waive client privilege, understandably. Adam highlighted that he lost his Twitter account when he leaked the audio of Amber saying, "Go on, Johnny, tell the world that you're a victim of domestic abuse."
You had your Twitter account suspended, correct?
Yes, that's true. My Twitter account was suspended. I wrote several letters to Twitter to ask why I was suspended for life from their platform. And the response that I received was multiple violations of their policy.
Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman, said the various discrepancies prove that nothing Heard and her friends said about the events of May 21, 2016 could be considered credible. Do you see that?
Hearsay.
Quote, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and a publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. Do you say
With the quote marks, I believe I said that, yes.
Did you make these statements on Mr. Depp's behalf?
Instruct the witness not to answer on the grounds of attorney-client privilege.
I accept the instruction.
He was the one who did that, and he lost his Twitter account because of it. MVP lawyer. Then we have Detective Mari Sandanaga. I'm sorry, I'm probably really mispronouncing that. So this is basically meant to be a counter witness to the 3 police officers who testified that the reason they didn't make a report around anything to do with domestic violence was simply because they didn't see any domestic violence. They didn't see any broken furniture, any smashed bottles. They didn't see anything that looked like it was clear abuse, therefore they didn't make a report. And this witness was simply meant to highlight, well, they should have done a report. The police didn't do enough. But when this person was cross-examined...
Was the language victim advised verbal dispute language that patrol officers were trained to provide when they were not going to document anything from the scene?
It can vary, but officers would commonly use the phrase verbal dispute or to document when a report was not taken.
Then we had Ron Schnell. I felt bad for Ron Schnell, I'll be honest. He seemed like a really nice guy. He seemed like he was very smart. He seemed like a good expert. He was the rebuttal expert to Johnny's expert, who was Douglas Banner. He had very limited information.
At the top here, there are hashtags that are in yellow. You see that?
I do.
Okay.
So each of these is the number of tweets with the hashtags, with the corresponding hashtag during that month.
Okay. What does it show from 2018, frankly, to July of 2020?
There were none.
And then what happens in August of 2020?
Well, there's a remarkable jump from...
Justice for Johnny Depp is not negative towards Miss Heard, is it?
No, but the tweets that use that hashtag are.
No, but the hashtag itself, the hashtag that predominates through your analysis is not, in fact, negative towards Miss Heard.
I'm not opining on the hashtag itself. I'm talking about the tweets that contain that hashtag.
But the hashtag itself is not negative.
That's not part of my opinion, one way or the other.
Do you have an opinion as to whether justice for Johnny Depp is a good thing?
That's not part of my assignment.
Okay, but you'll agree with me justice in general is a good thing?
Big fan of justice.
All right, me too. No further questions.
All right. And the reason he had very limited information, and the reason why the cross was so good against him, he was only asked to do certain things. And the reason he was only asked to do that is because otherwise, if it was looked further into, Amber's claims would have been highlighted to be absolute bullshit. The reason this was even worse for Amber, like, again, I feel bad for Ron Schnell, but the reason the work that he did for her really kicked her in the nuts is because they highlighted the fact that justice for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is an abuser. So Amber Turd was in there as well, which no one could not laugh at. That was...
And the last one was Amber Turd, right?
That is another one.
Amber Heard is an abuser and justice for Johnny Depp were trending, and that so many people were supporting justice for Johnny Depp. They just entered public opinion into evidence, even though it's not literal evidence, because that piece of evidence for some reason never went into the thing, but the jury heard that. The jury heard that the whole world is behind Johnny Depp. That was an own goal. That just worked directly against you. Then we had Michelle Mulroney. She was Amber's divorce lawyer. So Amber slipped up and said that, oh, she had a divorce lawyer for XYZ, while she was apparently talking about the prenup. She always had a divorce lawyer on. She knew she was never going to stay with him for a long period of time. But yeah, so Michelle Mulroney discussed around the prenup and the fact that Johnny shouted at her down the phone and fired her. However, it was highlighted by the lawyer that Johnny Depp is not her client. Therefore, Johnny Depp cannot fire her. Only Amber Heard can.
He didn't have the power to fire you, correct?
Correct. Do you have any recollection of ever receiving any more communications from Dana Lowry furthering the postnuptial agreement after Johnny Depp called you and told you he was firing you on behalf of Amber and called you names?
No substantive. I recall that there was no more substantive conversations.
So, I mean, you're a lawyer, you should know this shit. And then we had Tina Newman. Tina Newman worked for Disney and she discussed around Johnny being dropped from Pirate 6. So they tried to highlight that the op-ed was never brought in as evidence within Disney to say that this is why he was dropped.
Reportedly scraps plans for Depp's POTC 6. I'm assuming that's Pirates of the Caribbean 6 return. You see that? The question was, did you see it?
Yes, I see it.
As you sit here today, are you aware of any document in Disney's emails or in their IT system or anywhere that contains Amber Heard's op-ed from December of 2018?
I mean, no, not that I'm aware.
I'm not being funny, but of course if there fucking isn't, those conversations do not happen through written communication. It happens over the phone or in person because these are serious claims that are made in this op-ed. I tried to use that as the counterclaim that Johnny did not lose Pirate 6 because of Amber. Fucking weak. Then we had Ellen Barkin. Ellen Barkin is an ex of Johnny Depp's from 30 fucking years ago. Johnny has a lot of exes. Well, I don't know about a lot, but he has Winona Ryder, Kate Moss, Vanessa, and all these three women have supported Johnny the whole way through all of these accusations since 2016. But yeah, so to bring Ellen Barkin in to say that, oh, Johnny used to be controlling of her, therefore clearly he must still be controlling, and that's what was happening with Amber.
Yes, he didn't want me to go. I was only supposed to be there for 2 days. I stayed for longer.
And you just referenced, you just used the word jealous. How did that come up? What did he say that indicated to you that he was jealous?
He's just a jealous man, controlling. Where are you going? Who are you going with? What did you do last night? I had a scratch on my back once that got him very, very angry because he insisted it came from me having sex with a person who wasn't him.
Even though she did highlight the fact that he's never thrown anything at him.
Mr. Depp threw a wine bottle across the room, the hotel room on one instance in Las Vegas while we were shooting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. No, it did not.
Did the bottle hit anyone else?
No, it did not.
But the news tried to say that he did. I've tried to highlight this so many times, but this is why there is cameras in this courtroom, because the media is still trying to twist narratives that are clearly not there. It's gross. Ellen Barkin, clearly just a disgruntled ex 30 years ago. Clearly not relevant. I'm not being funny, but people change a lot in 30 years, even if he was like that then. There's no evidence that he has been in between that 30 years. So, Then we had Dr. Alan Borstein. So he was another of Johnny's doctors, and Johnny had waived client privilege so that he was able to talk regarding this. So they didn't do a cross-examination of this doctor, and the reason people think this is because it basically just showed Johnny's human, that he has mental health issues like everybody else.
So to see whether or not
he was going to start therapy with me. I think he referred to a devil as some version of internal depression and chaos that he felt, something like an everyday phenomenon. He felt he was struggling. The devil was a representation of the battle that he had many days when he woke up with the depression and anxiety and fears that he had.
Whereas Amber consistently tries to say that she's just Angel, that she never took drugs, and then all of a sudden the following week, oh yeah, she does take drugs. She's never hit someone, but also she did fight back. It just showed Johnny is human. And I think actually it's really important for people, even who have millions and millions of dollars, and to highlight that even though I may have all of this wealth, doesn't mean I'm not depressed, doesn't mean I don't struggle with anxiety, doesn't mean that I don't have issues with my mental health. What I will say that I thought was really fucked up is that after this doctor's deposition, Johnny's supporters had reviews on him, which I think is so fucked up, because Johnny would have waived client privilege for him to actually testify. So Johnny made that decision, and it was a good decision by his team. The doctor felt very clearly very uncomfortable testifying about all this stuff, so he wasn't happy to do it, but he legally had to. And thirdly, all that does is feed into Amber's testimony that Johnny has cult-like fan base that will do anything for him. It's not doing anyone any good. The last two was Eric George, which was Amber's lawyer. Eric George basically just confirmed that the op-ed was about Johnny.
She presented to me a draft of the op-ed and asked for my counsel in terms of reviewing it, editing it, and finalizing it for publication. I reviewed it and spent some significant time on it to make sure that there would be no meritorious claim that could be brought against her in connection with a defamation or related type of tort claim. And ideally, with that in mind, to minimize the possibility of her ever being sued in connection with publishing it.
But you know, we all fucking knew that. And then lastly we have Jessica Kovacevic. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that name. She was Amber's former agent, or still agent, I can't remember. Basically all she said was that the reason Amber's being dropped from Aquaman is because she has no chemistry with Jason Momoa.
With what Warner Brothers originally gave as the rationale for not using her in Aquaman 2?
The lack of chemistry between her and Jason?
Yes.
Yes.
So did there come a time when WME came to understand that Ms. Heard's role as Mira in Aquaman 2 was diminished in some way?
When she was sent the script, directly.
I will say is that she literally caused another break up of a marriage, so like there must have been something there at some point, but I can imagine for Aquaman 2 he probably wants nothing to do with her. He literally, I'm pretty sure he now follows Johnny Depp on social media, so you know. But yeah, so that was just a quick rundown of week 5. I will make sure to do week 6 as soon as possible. The only thing I will say is that they only have 8 more hours, Amber's team, for their case. So yeah, Johnny's team has, I want to say about 21 hours. There's going to be a bunch of rebuttal witnesses, which I am genuinely looking forward to. Like for instance, they're likely going to bring back Dr. Curry. She was impressive the first time. I can't wait for this one where she probably says that, look, you know that testimony that you just saw? It highlighted everything I had said previous. Like, that woman is clearly very good at her job. Not be a slam dunk for Johnny at all. I still think there's a lot of technicalities that could cause him to lose this case, but his lawyers are doing a fantastic job, so well done. Whereas Amber's team are looking more and more pathetic as the days go by, and in some ways I kind of feel bad for them because their client's likely not making it easy for them. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give this a like and subscribe if you feel like it. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the bell if you want to see the recap of week 6. But yeah, I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!